I'm Delores Jones, your comeback coach, and you're listening to me on Finally Free. My special guest today, you ready, Wesley?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
Is Mr. Wesley Hamilton. You notice I put my workout gear on, right?
Right.
Because I know you hear you're going to work us out mentally and then even physically. You's a bad boy. You's a bad brother, okay? So Wesley is the founder of a company called Disabled
But not really.
But Not Really. Talk to us about that.
So, Disabled But Not Really is...
Put the mic up a little bit. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Better.
All right. So, Disabled But Not Really. We're focused on instilling a physical limitless mindset for people with disabilities. Trying to teach them the benefits of fitness and nutrition and the way it helps with your mindset, the way it changes your mentality when you start to push yourself past the limitations that you see mentally. I'm a firm believer that, despite whatever your struggle is, you're trapped mentally, because when you have a physical limitless mindset, you can accomplish anything that's set in front of you. And I'm kind of like that definition of that, and I want to be able to help others that's in my position as well as able-bodied to overcome the struggles that they have mentally. Mm-hmm. And so that's what Disabled But Not Really is.
Well, I went on your website, which is wonderful, and you blog. I mean, you got it going on, right? You got it going on. Can you tell us some of your story? Because I think something happened to you in 2015. So can you take us before that and up to that and then where you are now?
Yeah. I was shot back January of 2012. And at that time, I was 230 pounds. So I was dealing with being overweight, learning how to adapt to something new, because I was diagnosed with spinal cord injury, which left me paralyzed from the waist down. I had also just became a single father. My daughter was 2 at the time. And I mean, I was lost. I was completely lost. Depression was all over me. And it wasn't just because of being paralyzed. It was because of trying to raise a child on my own with this new way of life that mentally I had limits. By the end of 2012, I ended up getting pressure ulcer, and it was on my tailbone. Well, that led to 2 years of bed rest. You think depression stopped? No, it got worse. And I still didn't know how to overcome it. I had doctors in and out the house. I was negative. I wanted people around me, but what I use strongly now is that I wanted people to love me, but I didn't love myself. I felt so defeated in life that I needed someone to care. And it took me to be alone to realize that if I didn't care about myself, then how could anybody else care about me? I had to learn what energy was. And I was throwing off so much negative energy that who would want to be around a negative person?
I mean, you would have a right to be mad. I mean, you were shot. How old were you when you were shot?
I had just turned 24, so I got shot 5 days after my birthday.
Oh my Lord.
So,
was it a random act of violence, or was it an altercation?
It was, I don't want to say it was particularly random. It was an altercation that was resolved that happened. Then the shooting was by someone random. I had never even spoke to the guy. He was never involved in an altercation or anything. He just
got mad.
He just came from nowhere, basically, seriously.
Because he knew the other person?
Yep.
Really?
Yes. I was literally walking back to my car when I got shot. I wasn't in nobody's face. I was actually on my way about to leave, going to celebrate my birthday weekend.
And you said, how old were you?
I was 24.
24.
So 29 now, and I love life for what it is. And it was the process that got me here.
You're not bitter. So then the the mother of your daughter, did she just say, I'm out of here?
I wouldn't say that per se that she said that she was out of there, but in my mind, there was really no relationship when we kind of, when my daughter was born, and for me, it was really a plan set in place that I didn't realize till now. Like, God just knew that my daughter, she was born to be with me. The bond that we have today, I can't see her being with anyone else. And even, I'm not trying to be selfish, but it was, I was meant to be a single father. It made me stronger today than I was back then. And once I realized what my purpose was in life and how I was meant to raise this little girl into a queen, that it draws me to be who I am today.
So you were at 230 pounds?
Yeah.
And you were on bed rest?
Yep.
What did that look like?
I mean, it didn't look good. I'm only like 5'4". Like I always tell people, 5'5" on my license. But I was always heavy set. I was never small like growing up. So being heavy set was all right after I got the hang of it. I wasn't a bad looking guy. So to me, I could deal with the heavy set thing. I was a cute big boy according to a lot of people. So
and you're still cute.
So it was not until I got into a wheelchair that I started to realize what being heavy did to me.
Okay.
I used to get, just go out a lot, and I would break sweats because, the weight alone was just a lot. I would literally have to call someone to come and cut my air on in my car just for me to get in it, or even for me to have some assistance to get out my vehicle, because if I did it on my own, I would probably break a sweat before I even got out the car. Like, I was heavy. And having a spinal cord injury, it triggers so many things that, from nerves and things like that a lot of people don't know. So once you mentally have in your mind, this is hard, your body thinks of everything being hard. And at that time, shoot, if I was like, oh, Lord, I'm about to start sweating, I would break out in a sweat. Mm-hmm. And it was stressful. And then the bed rest, being in overweight in a bed, it wasn't easy.
Right.
I could only get out for like 3 hours a day. And I didn't know what I was going to get out for 3 hours a day and do.
So for 2 years, you got out of the bed every day just for
3 hours.
3 hours. And
yeah.
What was that, for rehab?
No. Sometimes doctor's appointments. Sometimes just to get out. I think it was up until like 6 months before my last surgery, I ended up going to school to be a dietitian. My body wasn't healing, and so I asked the doctors what could make the healing go faster. I was tired of doctor's appointments. I was tired of my daughter watching me in defeat, and they just told me protein. They said a lot of protein. So they gave me these Ensure drinks, and they were nasty. I'm like, I'm not old yet, no offense, but I'm like, my grandma had Ensure. I'm like, you giving me these drinks? No, I'm not old yet. They gave me some other kind of protein drink that was good for wound healing, and it was nasty. And the only thing I could think of is, what can I do for me to overcome the struggle that I am in? Because at this point, I could not constantly blame it on somebody else. I could not say that, oh, this man shot me and this is the reason why I'm here. No, to this day, like now, I believe there was a plan that I never seen. And it was because, how quick I overcame everything. I ended up going to school at Johnson County Community College. The reason why was because I had to drive that far to clear my mind every day. I wanted that distance. I didn't want nothing close. I wanted to be able to go on a highway and just think about life and think about what can I do for myself to change the life that I'm in. And so, I would go for about an hour on campus. I did online work, and then I would do an hour at the rehab in their gym, just cardio. At this time, I'm like, I gotta make the change for myself. It wasn't someone in my face saying, I had friends and family that I would talk to and say, hey, I want to go to the gym, and it was just every day I was telling them the same thing. It wasn't nobody that really just said, all right, let's go. So I knew I had to do it for myself. And I ended up start going, and I think over a year time, I lost 100 pounds. Yeah, amazing, right? I had never lost weight. Even when I tried while I was walking, I would jog down the block and stop. Like, oh, working out is not for me. I'm done. I'm done. So for this, it was amazing to see the transformation. And I was so much in denial of the transformation because family and things would say, oh, Wes, you're getting smaller. I'm like, no, I'm not. Because I had never been small. This is how much I was in denial. I was probably like size 44 jeans. So as I'm getting smaller and smaller, I would only go down one size pair of pants every time. Like I would start at 42, then 40, then 38, then 36. I stayed at 36 no matter how baggy they were until I'm like, I'm not smaller than a 36.
So you kept wearing baggy pants?
Yeah, they look good on me in this wheelchair, so I didn't care. But, you know, they would hang off of me as I'm trying to get in and out the car. So I'm like, all right, something got to give.
Why didn't you want to let the pants go with?
Because I was in denial of thinking I could be smaller. I just didn't believe it. You know, I'm just thinking like, oh, you know, I'm gonna gain some weight back. That was my mentality, like I'm gonna get the weight back. Okay. After that year, I had one of the therapists measure my waist, and so her first reaction was like, "Wow." I'm like, "Wow, what? What's wrong?" You know, like, she's like, "Your waist is a 28."
What?
And I'm like, "My waist is what?"
Wait a minute. You went from a 42 or 44 size waist,
yes,
down to a
28.
28.
Like right now, I'm still at 28. I can't get no bigger.
And what did you do again to get there?
Eat. It was all about eating. And once I, got smaller and my mind changed because I was small and I realized how small I was, it empowered me to do more for myself. It empowered me to not only think about me, but think about others. And that's when Disabled Not Really came, because my body started to heal. And first thought in my mind was, how many people with disabilities go through the same exact thing and cannot and cannot pass that struggle because they don't have the guidance or they don't have the willpower to get them to where they want to be. Instead, I had a little girl that was motivating me every day when I looked at her in the room, and I knew I had to make a change. But some people don't have that. So now they got me. And so to me, it was, well, I got to come up with something. I had 6 weeks left of bed rest after my last surgery, and I had to be in a hospital and on a bed called a Clinitron bed. And so I couldn't get out the bed because I had to heal. So I couldn't get out. But for 6 weeks. So bed baths and everything. But my mindset was so much different because I knew that I felt great. I didn't care how long I had to be in the bed. I wasn't about to go 8 weeks, but 6 weeks was fine. I actually I bought a refrigerator. I had my mom cooking the food that I wanted. I didn't eat the hospital food. I was so disciplined in the change that I had to make for myself that wasn't nothing going to stop me. And that's when I came up with Disabled But Not Really. In the hospital bed for those 6 weeks. I didn't have no other time to do anything. I registered for my nonprofit online. I came up with my logo right in that bed. I came up with my mission right in that bed because I knew that other people go through these struggles every day and they cannot make it out of them. If they could make it out of them, it would be more people with the same mentality as me. So now from the lessons that I learned and the struggles that I went through, it is my goal and my job to be able to help other people in my position go through their struggles a lot faster, educate the ones that are new to the injury, and show them a better way. And fitness wasn't even in my mind yet.
Okay, so you hadn't started exercising? I
was just doing cardio to lose the weight, but I wasn't lifting.
Some people want to know, how are you doing cardio in a wheelchair?
I had this thing called a new step. And it was where that it had these tools that would strap around your knees, and you wrap your feet around like some pedals, and then you use your arm and it would kind of move your legs like a bike. And so for me, I went hard on it. If I was in there for 30 minutes, an hour, then I would actually go hard for about 45 minutes, breaking sweats and everything. I'm sliding off the seat because my butt all sweaty, but I was determined for a change that I had never seen in myself. And at that time, I had believed more in me than I had ever believed in myself walking. So I knew that I knew that I had to make that difference. And still, fitness wasn't there. We go to, all right, this is 2015. My last surgery was March of 2015, which wasn't too long ago.
Right.
And, you know, we're only in 2017. As soon as I got out the hospital, I started going to expos. My goal was to, at that time, my goal for disabled and I really was to try to help people with disabilities be more active. So I went to an expo in Chicago. I went to one in Houston. And I just started meeting people. And I started learning about different things and seeing different type of, equipment. And it fascinated me. I started meeting people that had already had the willpower to do more and not let their struggle be their identity. And so for me, I'm like, okay, this is cool, but what can I bring back home? What can I bring back to Kansas City that people in my position in this city does not have? Because there's a void that I needed to fill. I got introduced to wheelchair bodybuilding. This is January 2016.
Oh my God. Okay, so you're wondering, who is this man talking on the radio on Finally Free? You're listening to Wesley Hamilton. He is actually from Kansas City, and he has an organization that he founded from his hospital bed while he was on bed rest for 6 weeks in the hospital. Right. His company is called Disabled But Not Really. I love that. So you go from 230 pounds, a waist of 44,
yep,
down to a waist size of 28.
And 130 pounds.
And you weren't exercising per se.
No.
You did cardio, which
Yep.
was a little bit, but you changed your eating habits. And you are a dietitian,
Yep.
right? Talk to me about that.
For me, to learn nutrition, it wasn't actually to say, all right, I needed to make this into a profession. It was for me to have the knowledge to be able to change myself and change others. But I wanted to change others through my nonprofit. I don't want to be a cafeteria guy sitting there making meal plans or someone that's just at a hospital. I want to be able to change the world and their perspective of health and nutrition. And I don't want to have one set standard, and that's what I go by for 30 years till retirement. And it was just for knowledge. It was just to educate myself and be able to go off of my experiences of being heavy set my whole life and be able to tell somebody else that, for one, I understand, and for two, I can help.
Oh my goodness. So Wesley's here. We're going to get back to this weight bodybuilding. What did you say?
Yeah. Wheelchair bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding. But just in case you want to holler at Wesley and you have a couple of questions, you can hit him up on my Facebook Live page because I am following your comments. You all, thank you for being with me. You can call 816-599-6893. That's 816-599-6893. You're listening to Finally Free with me, Delores Jones, your comeback coach, and I have a bodybuilder here in the studio. And you're quite buff, young man. I mean, look at those muscles, the definition. You don't have any body fat.
No, not much. I got a little bit.
Yeah?
Okay. I push on it sometimes.
Yeah, and you're tatted up.
Yeah, I love
those are nice. Got your little beard working. You are very fine. You are a handsome young man.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. So my question, as you were talking about all of the motivation, I'm trying to fathom in my mind, where did all that come from? Are you like a spiritual person? I know you have this hunger for information, but what else do you have?
I'm spiritual, maybe not to the extent like you. I love what you were saying at the beginning of the show. So, I wouldn't say I'm at that point.
Which is fine.
But I motivate myself through just reading. I take my mind to another place. Okay. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to motivational speakers. I have some great friends that talk to each other every day and empower each other on positivity. I'm constantly feeding myself to stay motivated. And I motivate myself sometimes, you know, just literally telling me what I will not go back to. Once you live in a life of negativity and darkness, the only thing that you can see is light. I'm not going back. I'm not going back to a negative lifestyle. I'm not going back to negative thoughts. I'm not going around negative friends. I'm not going around negative family. If you're not bringing positivity into my life, I refuse to be around you, because I know how much positivity has done for me, and it's not only going to continue to do things for me, it's going to help me grow into the man that I am supposed to become and the man I am today.
Well, let's talk about the man you are today with those pretty white teeth. Y'all, if y'all can see this man's teeth and the muscles and the tattoos and the pretty hair. Yeah, am I making you blush?
Yeah, you making me
okay.
blush a little bit, just a little
I do
bit.
that on the show. Carmen Wesley, one of my Facebook followers, said, this is good. Yeah, so I have some other people that are hitting us up and telling us what they're thinking. And somebody's already shared the Facebook Live session. So let me pause mine, because now okay, hold on, honey. Hold on. I done hit my, hello. Wait a minute. Technology. Thank you. So hit us up. Mr. Walker's also following my Facebook Live page, and we can get some of your comments. You can also give us a call here, 816-599-6893. I'm sure Wesley would want to hear from you. So let's talk about this nice body, this nice physique that you have. Okay, Mr. Hamilton. You got introduced to
wheelchair bodybuilding in January of 2016. So a friend of mine, still a good friend, actually he was my main motivation when I was going through my transformation and just trying to work out. He told me about a competition in Florida that March, and I'm like, man, I'm not ready for a comp. And he's like, just do it anyway. And I'm like, okay, you know. So I went on, I registered, and I raised some money to get there, and I started posting videos. I just started going hard. I'm just like, man, I got this will. Now I'm doing something I had never done. Mind you, before 5 years in a wheelchair, I had never even thought about fitness. I had never worked out. I did football 1 year in the 8th grade, messed up my ankle, and that was it. I'm like, forget it. You know, I'm not a sports person. So this was all new to me. And because it was new to me, I was driven for it. Well, a friend of mine, good friend still, I think it was February, she seen my videos, and she reached out and said, hey Wes, you ever heard of adaptive CrossFit? And I'm like, you know, no, I didn't even really know what CrossFit was. She said, go ahead and look at this video on YouTube. And so when I watched the video, like, I literally broke down in tears, because wheelchair bodybuilding is one thing, but adaptive CrossFit is powerful. I got empowered by that video, and I said I got to compete. It was a competition in March. So yeah, so it was two. They was a week after each other. Me, my daughter, and my mom drove to North Carolina for the CrossFit competition in March, and I ended up winning first place.
What?
And I wanted my mom and my daughter to experience that, and it was amazing for me because you could hear my daughter in the back. At that time, she was 5. So you could hear her literally saying, go, daddy, go, you know, push yourself, you got this. And it was great. And the atmosphere, the support was awesome. So then I went to the bodybuilding comp like a week later, and I won second place. And I was in a lightweight division. I weighed 130. And I felt good about it because I never weighed 130. And, you know, I'm on stage without a shirt on. Like, I'm showing on my body and I don't have a shirt on. Like, I would be in a swimming pool with a shirt on. So now you telling me that I'm on stage, you know? So it didn't do anything but motivate me to do more.
Oh my. my. And remember, you wouldn't let those size 44s go.
Not right.
Although you were now at a 28 waist, because you kept thinking you were going to grow the weight back. Now.
So I would say that journey went on. It actually went on. It stopped in July. I did some CrossFit competitions, and by July 2016, I had fractured my femur. Don't ask me how. I really don't know how. I just woke up in the hospital in Dallas after a competition, and I was surrounded by some great group of friends and family, and you know, they said, you know why they said we sent you to the hospital because we asked you who was the president. and you didn't know. And they said, you don't know who the president of this year is?
And who was the president?
It was Obama.
Okay,
they like,
then, yeah, you
and
need
you
to
don't.
go to the
Yeah, they said you gotta go to the hospital. So I woke up with a cast on my leg. Well, mentally, I was stronger than I had ever been.
Here with my special guest, Wesley Hamilton, who is, how would you just, you're not an amputee.
No.
So how do you describe yourself? Although, just hearing you talk, I would not even, if I were at home listening from the radio, there's no way I would place you in a wheelchair.
No, I mean, but I am, but when you look at who I am, I am Wesley Hamilton. Wesley Hamilton is an adaptive athlete. He's an inspirational speaker. He's a full-time single father, and he's a blogger.
Yes, you are. I saw your blog.
And that's who I am.
Yeah, I read about your blog, and let's talk briefly about some of the topics that you hit up on the blog, which I was like, look at you, boy. And you're a great writer. You are a great writer. And you can also talk to Wesley. He's going to be in the studio for me for a little while longer. 816-599-6893. Also, send your questions on my Facebook Live page, and Mr. Walker will let me know what you have to say. Mr. Walker, just let me know what people are saying and what they want to hear from Wesley Hamilton. All right? So, Wesley, one of the things you talked about on your blog, and I think, what is your website?
I got two.
Okay.
DisabledButNotReally.org, which I blog on there personally, as well as I Am Wesley Hamilton, which I blog on there. Okay. And it's more personal on my branded website.
Okay, so iamweshamilton.org or
DisabledButNotReally.org.
DisabledButNotReally.org.
Yep. Okay,
so I was on your blog where you were talking about going to the restaurant. Okay, so tell us about that.
The restaurant struggle.
Yeah, the restaurant struggle.
The fact that a lot of people don't have a perspective of what someone in a wheelchair goes through when they go to a restaurant. And that's, for one, you don't see many of us at restaurants, and that's because they're not accessible. Nowadays, with my touch, I've seen a lot of people making adjustments, coming out with lower tables and things. But if you want to go out to a restaurant with friends, Kansas City is just not the most accessible place. A lot of older restaurants, they have stairs. So, you got to think of, with no ramp. And so, you got a group of friends and y'all trying to go out to eat.
Name of his blog? What's the name of your blog?
Oh, it's just at I Am Wesley Hamilton and DisabledButNotReally.org/blog.
Okay. And you have various topics.
Oh, yeah. I got a lot of topics.
I know. I was there. We're going to talk about one of them where you talk about relationships.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
But the restaurant struggle is just something that everyone doesn't look at in a perspective because they're not in our position. And for me, it's just to raise that awareness for people that aren't in my position to understand that we have money too. And we want to be free, just like everybody else, to go to any restaurant or, establishment and feel comfortable about what we're doing. I've had to go to certain restaurants where I've had to, put my food on my lap just to be able to eat because the table is too tall and they don't have anything my height. So, I wanted to just spread that and give people a different perspective of how we feel when we're at bars. If I want to go out and have drinks with friends, you telling me I got to reach up high just to get to the bar? What if I got a lady next to me? I don't want to be, say I get a little tipsy. Well, then that's just going to drop right on me if I try to reach for it. But what if it was right in front of me? Maybe I could lean up a little bit on the table and drink my drink.
Yeah, I thought you said something else about leaning up, trying to reach your drink, and then leaning forward and just falling out of the chair.
I mean, yeah, because all that comes, if you don't have balance, then a lot of people don't. A lot of people my injury is lower. It's a T11, T12, so it's lower to my waistline. But there's some people that are chest up. And, they want to go out and have fun too. So they don't have that balance like I might have. And so as soon as you go forward, if you're tipsy, just say if you're having a couple drinks, you really got to just limit what you can do because you can't have fun like you want to because there's nothing accessible for you.
Let's talk about having fun. Let's talk about the old relationship thing because you talk about that on your blog. Take us into that.
It's
part
just
of the struggles.
Yeah, relationships come with struggles. When you're in when you have a spinal cord injury, it's not necessarily that no one wants to be with someone that's in a wheelchair. It's just that they never have. And there are some. To me, at the end of my blog, I just wanted to let people know you have to have a genuine heart when it comes to someone in a wheelchair, because there are things that we go through. Whether it's pain. A lot of people still go through pain, and you might hear it. And anybody tend to lean their pain more on the people that they love than just someone that's just a stranger. And so, when you have to adapt. It's not just a cute face in a wheelchair. It's, it's a process. It's getting in and out the car, and the ability to say, all right, well, I can help you put your chair together. Or, when we go, just everyday things. We go through everyday struggles. And to me, I've been single ever since I've been in this wheelchair. And even though I haven't had, flings and fun, it never goes anywhere. And what I've realized is that it don't go anywhere, because when reality hits that you're dealing with someone that might have typical problems in our mind, to you it's more of an issue. Why not just go date someone that's just walking, no matter if they're going to probably put you through more problems than someone like me.
Say that again. Okay.
And so, for me, it's a conversation is a conversation, but being in reality, a lot of people, when we go out, just say restaurants and things, when you go out, people look at you. People tend to see you for someone, that the image that they have in their mind, but they don't know who you are. And when you're trying to go for a relationship, a lot of people don't want to be judged. And so they don't want to, and it doesn't have to be in a wheelchair. It could be anybody with a disability. People just don't know how to accept them for who they are. And for me, with my blog, what I wanted people to know is that I was that person too before I was in a wheelchair. I didn't understand what it meant, until I was in this position, that it is hard. When I couldn't say when I was walking that I would literally date someone in a wheelchair. Now, if I walk today, of course I would probably pursue somebody that has some type of physical limitation or something, because I know how it is, and I know that they are just like everyone else. Right. But if you don't know that, you judge them like the rest of society judge someone that's different than them.
Now, we live in a very sex-driven society.
Yes.
So when y'all go to the restaurant, we know that you can maneuver that situation. Okay? But when you go to the bedroom...
So when it comes to sex, everyone with a spinal cord injury is different. I'm learning that just from friends and everything, friends and conversations. But there's always a way if it's not just the normal way. But you have to have someone that's willing to adapt to that. And what I mean by that is that, some men might not be able to get it up like regular men, but that doesn't mean that they can't take some blue pill or something and get them to where they need to be. And you have to be with someone that literally is not only okay with that, but doesn't look at that like the only thing that, that this relationship is about. And like you said, our society is built on sex. So when someone that's like myself is trying to approach someone, that's normally the first question that I get hit with.
What do they say to you?
Oh man, they're like, oh, well, can you have sex? Like, I don't care what type. Like, we could talk from Facebook to the phone, but by the time we get on the phone, they like, hey, can you have sex? I got a question to ask you. I hope you don't get mad.
And so what's your answer?
Yeah, just like anybody else,
With a blue pill.
It depends. Certain times, you might be able to pop out that magic. Sometimes you might have to put that magic in you.
Oh, my Lord.
To me, when you get hit with that question, you already know where their focus is going.
Right.
Because on my personal blog, I kind of talk about it, and I could talk about it now, and it's like, when you look at it's kind of like being mind, you have to go mentally with it. You know what I mean? You have to find ways to be stimulated mentally than just physically.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people don't know that because they're so quick to get it, but they're unhappy after they get it.
Ooh, say that again.
I'll say it again. They're so quick to get it,
Yeah.
but they're unhappy after they get it because they're not mentally like sustained for that. They're not putting themselves in a mental place to allow every stimulation they're going to get from that process to empower them through everything. And when you're in a cheer, you have that. You know what I mean? Like, because you're teaching them more about love and passion and drive, and then you're giving them pleasure.
Right. So are you single by choice?
I'm single by force.
And
The women that I've approached and came around, they don't know how to accept my position yet. I focus on myself right now until that genuine person comes around.
you know what? I do want to say this. I'm going to have you back. I really am.
Oh yeah, I come back.
You'll have to come back. Now, September, what is it? I mean, you have an event this weekend. Is it Hydrate the Homeless?
Yep, September 3rd.
And where is that at?
We're probably gonna have it down at Restart KC, which is 918 East 9th Street. Giving back to the homeless. We're doing hygiene packs, giving them water, protein bars, things that they can actually use on a day-to-day basis.
And what time?
We will start at 11, end at 2.
Okay, we're going to continue our conversation with Wesley Hamilton. We're going to have to bring you back, young man. That hour just isn't long enough for you. And we'll talk about how he went from the wheelchair, 240 pounds, and on the cover of what?
Men's Health.
Men's Health.
I'm not on a cover, but I'm inside, full page spread.
Okay, centerfold spread of Men's Health, right? So make sure you listen in, lock it in to Finally Free with me, Delores Jones, your comeback coach, right here, 98.5 FM, KUAW. Can I just say you are the